Hello, welcome to Chef Richard's Kitchen. I'm Chef Richard Miller. Today we're going to make an Indian dish, and this is pretty common over here in this country. You'll find it in almost any Indian restaurant. It's extremely easy to make. It's one of my favorites, and we're going to make butter chicken today. And this is it's a moderately spicy, mild spice. It's not too much, so you don't have to worry about being overly spicy, but it's about right for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make it. I'm going to start out. I want to begin by heating my pan, and once again I'm going with my induction top because A, it's easier than trying to follow me over the stove and back. B, because I like using it. So let's first put in a tablespoon of oil, and a couple tablespoons worth of butter. Alright, now some of our ingredients we're going to use is we're going to use a medium onion that we've chopped, a couple of pounds of chicken that we've chopped up. In this case, I sometimes use cauliflower in my recipe, and that's just because cauliflower just goes so well with this that I tend to use it. We're going to use a cup of cream, one 6-ounce can of tomato paste, a tablespoon of garam masala, a teaspoon of mustard seeds, a couple of teaspoons of chili powder, a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of salt, a couple 3 cloves of garlic, a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. And of course, like I always do, I'll go ahead and I'm going to put this up at the end of the video with the ingredients page. So let's first start out putting our onions in. And we're going to go ahead and saute these till they're translucent or just beginning to clear up, and maybe even get a little brown. So one thing to watch with these induction plates is when you crank them up to a high heat, I sometimes crank them down a little bit because it does get hot, and it gets hot quickly. I did a test on this, and I've got 2 pans like this. I put one of them and I filled it with about 4 quarts of water, and I took the other one that's just like it and put it on the stove and decided, okay, let's see which one brings the water to a boil. The induction did, actually quite a bit sooner. So alright, our onions are turning translucent. Now let's put in our garlic, and we want to make sure the temperature isn't too high for this because we don't want to burn our garlic. We want to cook it until it kind of just becomes fragrant. Now let's add our ginger, salt, our cumin, and let's stir this around. You can start to smell the spices starting to become fragrant. All right, let's go ahead and put in our chili powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and our mustard seeds. Now we stir this. Now it's time to put in our tomato paste. Now normally you would take and brown the chicken first. In this case, I'm leaving it till the next step. We're going to cook it until it's plenty well done, don't worry. It's not going to have a brown taste, but that's okay because in this dish we don't want it to. We want to taste the garam masala and the rest of the spices. All right. Now, we'll put in our chicken. We're going to stir it. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cover this, and we're just going to let it cook for a little bit. This will help. This will trap the heat in there, and it'll cook the chicken faster. All right, now we just wait a little bit. One of the things about butter chicken is to let the flavors develop very well in here. Once this is all put together, we need to let it simmer for at least a half an hour before we serve it. Basmati rice, and we'll serve it with that. So I'll cut the camera here so you don't have to wait all this time. So make sure you stick around. Okay, let's see how it's turned out. The chicken looks like it's cooked nicely. Everything's blended together. So now let's go ahead and put in our garam masala and stir it. Now I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit, and I'm going to put the cream in. I don't want to get too hot because we might curdle it. Okay, that looks good. And now let's add the last. Okay, I don't know how well you can see this with the camera, but it's a light brown or a brownish yellow, looking very, very good, and also, you know, is smelling fantastic. I just don't want to waste any. All right, now we're going to put in some of our cauliflower. And stir. All right. Now that we have this done, I turned the temperature down to about 160 degrees. And what I'm going to do now is it's not going to boil, but it's going to stay hot. And I want this to simmer. All right? And I want it to simmer. We're going to let it simmer for about a half an hour. At the end of that time, or towards the end of that time, I'm going to start the rice over there. And that way we'll plate it about the same time. So I'll see you in about half an hour. Stick around. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes, and I look in here, and our butter chicken is simmering quite nicely. In fact, I can't wait to try this. So now, I just went ahead and I put the rice in the saucepan over there. I put a cup of rice to 2 cups water, and it's just getting about ready to boil. So let's go over there. Okay, it's just starting to boil. What I want to do is I just want to let it come up to a little bit more of a boil, and then I'm going to turn the heat way, way, way down, and I'm going to put the lid on it, and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to let it soak in there and steam for probably about 15 minutes, something like that. But we'll check it periodically just to be sure. There. Now we're boiling nicely. I'm going to turn the heat way down. Stir it one more time. Now cover it. Now, we're going to check it, or I'm going to check it in about 12 minutes, and we'll see where we are from there. All right, it's been 15 minutes. We've been letting the rice soak over there and steam, so it's looking really good over there. There's one last thing we have to do before we plate it and serve it. And remember the thing I've always told you, think about your guest first and at least taste it. Don't push something off on them you haven't tasted yourself. Maybe that's not such a good idea after all. I'm not sure the way this tastes. I want to share it with any guests. Anyway, it's delicious. So let's go ahead and let's plate. Okay, here's our rice. Put our chicken on top of that. Now there's a couple of ways you can garnish this. And you'll notice I usually use I usually use parsley when I garnish, but when it's something this is spicy or a little bit spicy like this, I tend to prefer cilantro. And that's what I'm putting on there now, are just a couple of sprigs of cilantro. All right, now one of the things you might want to do is just take and maybe break up a little bit of this and put it on like such. Okay, there we have it, butter chicken. This is very, very good. It's easy to make. It's not too high in calories because really we use some cream. If you want to cut it down a little more, go ahead and use just milk, or what I would recommend is probably half and half, or fat-free half and half. That works equally well because it's not used for thickening purposes. Also, you might try evaporated milk or evaporated skim milk, because that is really the part of it that has the most calories in it. So go ahead and experiment the way you want. If you do, write me and let me know how it comes out. Either put it in a comment or write me at chefrdmiller@att.net and let me know what you have to say. Let me know how your things come out. So anyway, once again, thank you for being with me. Take care. God bless. Here's the quiz. What am I always going to tell you at the end? Yep, cooking should be fun. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next episode.